What's up, YouTube? This is the Hillbilly Photographer. I'm Kevin, your host, and today I want to show you a little bit about how to use the clone stamp tool versus the healing tool, which they both work kind of the same, but yet they're a little bit different. As you can see here in this image right here, I took this picture of a deer. It's hand raised. It's a friend of mine. He has a deer ranch. And so he's raised these deer and then he breeds them and sells them and all that good stuff. But the thing is, with this picture, I want to get rid of the fence. I want this to be as life-looking shot, you know, without any fence or anything like that, just with the deer and its natural habitat. And of course, you can see the deer does have tags in its ear, so they're hand raised. So this little tutorial is going to be on the clone stamp and the healing brush tool and how they work the same but yet a little bit different. And first off, I'm going to show you before and after here real quick. Zoom in a little bit more so you can see that fence maybe a little bit better. You can see the fence right here, and you'll see the tags in its ear again. This is what I started with before I started. This is the layer. I created a layer on top of that so I can work with this picture. And as you notice, before, that's after and before. You see most of the fence is gone. I still got a little bit left here in the corner that I'm going to show you how to use these tools with. So I'm going to stay on that layer. I want you to zoom in a little bit on the area where I got some fence left. And I'm going to start out using the clone stamp tool. Now with the clone stamp tool, what it basically does, it does a clone of whatever your little crosshair is on. Let me make my brush a little smaller. And it's always a good idea to make your brush just a little bit bigger than the size of whatever you're trying to clone stamp out. Now if you notice that this wire, you know, of course you got your down and your cross when they tie together. Now the best way I see that I've been trying to tell people to use the clone stamp tool is when you sample the layer, which you do by holding Alt down on PC, and I think Alt or Option on a Mac. I'm not too sure about Macs, but anyways, on PC, hold the Alt, and you see a little crosshair come up, a little circle, click. Now what's going to happen is I'll bring my brush straight down below that cross, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but right above my paintbrush is the crosshair. So what it's going to do, it's going to, whatever that crosshair touches, it's going to paint over what you're painting. It's going to copy whatever you're painting. And there you go. That's one little way to do it. But there's problems sometimes with clone stamp tool. I mean, it's obvious. What you're doing is you're copying wherever that crosshair is on. So you get repeated lines sometimes. So this is where the clone stamp works the best, is on textures. For example, fur on the deer, grass, things of that nature. Concrete, you know, really rough textures and things. Then that's where the clone stamp really shines. But even though you still get repeated lines sometimes, that if someone's really good at Photoshop or looks at a picture, they can tell that you clone stamped something out. But and that was a pretty good example right there. It did a pretty good job. You really can't see anything repeated except for maybe this rock and this rock. But that's pretty easy to fix. We'll just sample another area. We'll just paint that over. Now, like I was saying, you got the lines that are up and down, and you got the wires going across. The best way to use this, if you got up and down, like say a pole, a light pole in your picture, or a fence, anything that's up and down, go to either the right or left of it and sample about so far away, about like right here. You don't have to be way out here to sample something, unless you're wanting something in the area that, you know, the sample will put in. But just go about like this outside the line here, the fence. I'm going to sample it. I'm going to put my brush right on it. and I'm going to go up and follow that up. Sometimes you need to resample. Now you notice the reason I go with that line is see that log that I'm getting ready to the crosshairs on? It's going to copy that log, and it's going to copy everything along with what I'm going up to do. Now we can fix this by just doing this. I'm going to sample that little spot right there. I'll come over here, line it up, click that. Now I'm going to sample a little bit of the log, get rid of that piece. I just fixed it. Now, like I told you, there's going to be a difference between the clone stamp and the healing brush tool. They both work in the same way as you have to sample an area. Now, if you noticed when I was on the clone stamp tool, when I sampled an area, it followed the brush all the way through. Now, the healing brush will do the same thing. But once you unclick, you let off your mouse button, the sample will go right back to the very first place you sampled. Now, unlike the clone stamp tool, wherever you click and copy, that crosshair will follow that mouse no matter where you go. I'll go back and I'll do this again for you real quick. I'm going to sample right here above this wire. Come down here. If you can see, it's just right directly above it. It's kind of probably fainted with all this texture in here for you to see. Hopefully you can see it moving above the mouse. The brush, I'm sorry. Now do you see that? Now if I let off the button and I move it over here, it's going to follow the brush. Okay? Now if I use the healing brush tool, I want to do this. Let me move this up a little bit here. I'm going to sample an area right beside it. I'm going to come right directly across from it. And there's the crosshair. It's going to follow that brush. But look here. I just let off the mouse button. And if I want to keep on copying the area, if you notice, look where the crosshair is. It's right back up where I first sampled. So if I paint over this rock, it's going to sample what the very first place I sampled. But that's okay. We'll just sample a little bit onto this rock here. And now it's going to follow across the rock. Now, like the clone stamp tool, it will give you repeated stuff. But like what you do, you just sample a different area and paint over it. But the key is here, with the healing brush tool, what it does, it actually blends the image better than the clone stamp. Clone stamp, you'll see a lot of repeated stuff. Now, not that you won't see a lot of repeated stuff with the healing brush, but it will offer and blend better than the clone stamp tool. But there's times when it's either or. That's going to work best for your image, depending. That's why it doesn't hurt to try either one of them. Now, like I said, the trick really is to use both of these tools is to go in the line, the direction of what you're painting. If it's an up and down object, sample to the right or to the left of it, like right here. Sample again, and I'm going to go straight across from that crosshair. Don't do this number. Don't go sample here and then start down here. Now watch. You see the crosshair barely moving up there? Oh, look at that. You got a piece of the wire that was up above. And then you got that horizontal piece of wire right there. That's why it's kind of crucial to kind of keep it close to what you're sampling. Or whatever you're sampling. Sample kind of close to what you're going to paint over. There you go. And up and down. Let's see, I'm going to need to sample this a little bit better here. I'm going to go to my right. Clone it out a little bit. Now, since this is a little bit on the rock here, I'm going to sample on the rock. Sample. Come down. and watch where, always watch where that crosshair goes. Let's go back up. Now I'm going to come over here a little bit. Alright. Now I'm going to come underneath, since there's more starting to come into the grassy area. Sample directly underneath it. Click. And it's going to follow the paintbrush right straight through. This is a vertical line, so I'm going to go to the right of it. Click. Go straight across. And I'm going to go down and follow it down. And as you can see, you'll never be able to tell in that area that it was cloned. Ah, I take it back. I do see a little spot right there. This is pretty easy. I'm going to sample over here. Paint over that. And it's not repeating. The repeat is gone. And as simple as that. Till then, next time I should say, y'all have a good one. I hope this helps. Tracy, just follow these little tips. Follow your lines. And you should do pretty good with it. Alright, this is Kevin, the Hillbilly Photographer. Peace out. Everybody take care. Please subscribe, comment, rate. Love to hear comments. If there's anything else you want to learn, just give me a holler. See ya.